Hey, friends. Welcome to Dishing on Divorce Next Chapter on WGSN-DB Going Solo Network Radio, Podcasts, and TV. I'm your host, Lisa Lisser, CEO and founder of LZL Coaching, a boutique coaching firm focused on divorce, relationships, and life transitions. I'm also a divorced mom of 3 now grown kids, a recovering lawyer, a current educator, a spiritual counselor, and a co-parenting coach. And I'm committed to transforming the divorce experience for everyone involved. Oh, and also, I'm a new entrepreneur later in life. So that will come up when we talk a little bit more with our guest. But let's just start thinking about next chapters. When we think about next chapters, we also think about big questions like, will I find love? Where will I live? Can I find a job? And these issues are enough to make anyone struggle. Sometimes the can I find a job question morphs into, can I start a business? And then what kind of business could that be? What really sparks my joy, my creative juices, my vision, and my passion? Today's guest has not only been there, but she's created a platform to give founders in the event space the tools to go bold with confidence. Melissa Cossette is the founder of MAXevent, where she helps Gen X women turn their creative talents into profitable, purpose-filled businesses in the events industry. With a background in events, hospitality, leadership, and business operations, she brings a clear and practical approach to helping women build businesses that truly fit their lives. Through MAXevent's 28-day business blueprint and the Business Builder Mentorship Program, Melissa guides women from pre-launch through their early years with clarity, structure, and the momentum they need to grow with confidence. She is passionate about helping women step into their second act with purpose, possibility, and a business they love. And with that, welcome, Melissa.
Thank you, Lisa. That was wonderful. I'm so happy to be here talking with you.
I'm so glad to have you here. You have such great wisdom in the event space, which is something that not all of us know about. So I'm going to ask you about that. But what I also do is I want to talk to you about how you got started in this. You know, what's your story? That's a question I invite all of my guests to answer, because we all have stories that led us in a way that maybe wasn't our original plan. So tell us a little bit about your background, and then we'll go into how you built MAXevents.
Sure. So, as you mentioned, my background was largely in hospitality and event planning. And in 2018, my family became a blended family, sort of. We I have a whole story outside of that for divorce that I won't get into right now, but um, my husband and I were busy making a life for ourselves and our 4 kids, and I finally found a job in corporate hospitality that was giving me the life balance that I needed to focus on my children. And then COVID hit. That was early 2020. And right before that, my then, partner proposed to me. We had our wedding planned in 2020, which got canceled. But also my career got canceled and I had to figure out what I was going to do. I spent most of 2020 trying to figure out, do I change industries? Do I go back to waiting tables? I mean, everything looked crazy, right? So got to about the end of that year before deciding, you know what, it is like beating my head against a wall as a 45-year-old woman at that time, trying to figure out how to get hired by somebody. Nobody was responding to my applications. It was very disheartening. I hit a low. And then what I did was I started focusing on myself. And through that, I discovered I could start something that really leveraged what I love to do best, what my skills and my passions are. And that's sort of when MAXevent was born.
That's an amazing story because there's so much that's part of it because you were having transition not in one space, but in like every place of your life. And that is so challenging. And the world was in disarray, right?
Yeah.
This was 2020. Like who knew what was going to happen next? Like it's hard to believe we're almost 6 years past that. And um life has gone on, but life is so different now. And the idea that you started with that I have to get a job um, in a field that I know was a mindset that we all grew up with, right? Like I need to get a job. Many of us didn't imagine we would be business owners or running our own business. And so how did you find the confidence to develop that shift because it's scary. And, take it from someone who knows. Like, I started this business in 2022, had the idea in 21, but, starting from scratch when you're not in your first job is really scary. So,
It,
share. Yeah.
yeah, it was scary, but exciting
Hmm.
because it all sort of started when I took this course online. It was called The Science of Well-Being. And I actually credit that with the confidence that I had to then decide I was going to start something. But really, what it was is realizing that I was trying to convince all of these potential hiring managers out there that I had what they needed. I mean, I had 25 years of experience and, I'm a pretty smart girl. I had a lot to offer, but nobody was seeing that. And then one day I just said to myself, why am I beating my head against a wall trying to convince other people of what I have to offer when I could just start something and go out and offer it? And that course I took, The Science of Well-Being, it helped me to see that because instead of focusing on everything that was going wrong in the world around me, I started focusing on everything that was going right. I focused on my family, who we were all healthy. We had our home. My husband, or soon to be husband, was still employed. And I started looking at it as a rare opportunity to focus on this new path that I would never have probably ever done if it weren't for being stuck at home in a pandemic with no job to go to, right? So, I kind of kept the feelers out there, but really I just started thinking about what can I offer that will help me to help other women who are like me. And I'll be honest with you, Lisa, at the very beginning, I wasn't focused on women. I was focused on event businesses, on hospitality businesses, because I thought, we're in a pandemic and we're going to come out of it and they're going to need guidance and support and I can help them through that. But what didn't sit right with me was the fact that I wasn't going after what I was passionate about.
Mm.
And when I started chasing what I was passionate about, then the confidence grew.
Yeah. So that's all about finding your why, right?
Right.
This is about, finding your passion, finding your purpose, and then finding the confidence to put those things together, right? Like you needed to actually see yourself, right? Like nobody else seemed to be out there seeing you, no matter how you packaged it, what your resume said, what your CV said. 25 years, nobody could see that. And maybe because the world was blind based on the trauma that was happening. But I might also share that like women after a certain age, people after a certain age, the regular recruiting community doesn't see you. And so that's where you feel invisible. But what I heard you say is that you took that and you decided, I'm going to look at myself. What is my passion? What can I create that other people need? And that's really powerful. So tell us a little bit more about how MAXevent was born.
Sure. So, as I mentioned, at first it was about let me just help people, businesses out there. And as most new entrepreneurs experience, your path isn't as linear as that. You don't come up with an idea on day one and then a few years in, you're doing that same thing. So over the years, what I realized was that I wanted to help women to do what I did, which was to start something new
Mm-hmm.
in their midlife. I hate calling it midlife, to tell you the truth, because for me, I feel like I have so much life in in front of me and so many experiences ahead of me, and midlife to me feels like almost like now I'm going to go on the downhill where really I'm just still going up. And so I want to catch women where they're reaching that point in some sort of life transition, whether it's a divorce or their kids went off to college, or they just woke up one day and are tired of wondering, is this all that is out there for me? And they can't wait for the weekends because they can do something they love. They love, working in their wildflower garden or calligraphy, and or they're the go-to party planner for their friends and family, right? So what is it they're passionate about? And I wanted to give them confidence to chase that passion and know that they could actually monetize it for things that people want and need in their lives. And I really decided to stick with celebration. There's a lot of meeting planners, conference planners out there, right? And maybe some of them do want to start to focus on, what do I want to do that's based in celebration? Because I just feel like if COVID taught us one thing when we were all at home by ourselves, which was we missed our communities, we missed our families, we missed our friends. When we got together, my husband and I did get married in 2020. We had a micro wedding and we had 30 people there, and we had to sit 6 feet apart from them at our quote reception. And I just, life is short and it's unpredictable. And while we're here, I want people to lean into what's worth celebrating in their lives. And I want to find the women who are passionate about that and feel drawn toward fostering that. And I want to help them figure out how they can offer something in that celebration space. It doesn't have to be event planning. It could be, like they love charcuterie and they want to, bring charcuterie boards to parties, right? So it's about finding what makes you special and what makes you thrive, and then how to make it a business.
That's amazing. So you use the word celebrations, and I love that because so much about people's perception of the next chapter is about what they've lost and not what they potentially can gain. And when you phrase it as a celebration, when you phrase it as this is not the end, this is a beginning. And one in a book that I wrote a chapter in, I used the quote, every beginning is another beginning's end.
Mhm.
So things have to end in order for you to start something new. And there is no time limit on when you can do that. So like I loved your you know theory that like middle age is such a term that speaks about limits. Celebration is a term that speaks about abundance.
Mm.
And, celebrating the fact that you created this business when you were 45 and you believe you're on the upswing, you are on the upswing. I started this business when I was 57, and I believe that I'm on the upswing, and we need to believe that because life isn't over until it's over. And celebrating what our gifts are is so powerful in designing the mindset shift,
That's
which
right.
is what you do.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. Mindset shift can often be about building confidence.
Mhm.
And when you're in a major transition, your confidence can take a real hit. So, what did rebuilding confidence look like for you, both personally and professionally? And I don't want to forget to go back to tell us the details about what MAXevent is. So you can answer whichever question you prefer first.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, MAXevent was born out of the idea that the event industry has become, in my view, a little formulaic, right? There's a lot of planners out there that start. I'll give you an example. A younger woman, I planned my own wedding and I loved it so much. And now I'm a wedding planner. And where do I need to go to learn wedding planning? And somebody will say, well, take this certificate course or shadow some, mentors or learn, right? So, and that's all pretty good advice. But what's happening is that a lot of people have started looking at event planning as like I've learned that, I checked that box, I've done what the people are saying I should do. And to me, event planning and the event industry in general is about the the heart of the matter, the heart of why people get together, why we celebrate, why we gather. And I wanted to create MAXevent to be about making the best gathering experiences possible, to maximize those experiences, to bring out the why behind the experience. And that does start with the person or people who are curating the experience. For instance, a wedding planner might have a consult with a couple. Well, what do you want for your wedding? And take the notes, and she's going to try to deliver all those things, right? But what about helping them to understand why what they're asking for is not necessarily the thing that's going to be the best choice for them?
Mm.
Why picking the sit down dinner with the big ornate centerpieces that nobody can see across the table, why that is not going to allow the community and togetherness and social aspect that they claim to want, right? So we're creating a lot of event professionals out there, but not a lot of them have the forethought to know what the experience is going to be like, or the strategy. I mean, I consider myself a true strategist. Everything I do has a strategy behind it, I swear. But really helping the people that are coming into MAXevent to understand what is the purpose, what can you do to maximize the experience for the people in attendance. It's not just about, what you're picking for the menu. It's about the heart of the matter, the experience you want to create. So that was MAXevent. And over the years, what it's really evolved in is just getting more and more closely toward, helping women to create new businesses out of that.
Right,
So,
right.
yeah.
That's amazing. So we have so much more to talk about,
Yes.
and we're about halfway through. So we're going to take a quick 30-second break to hear from our sponsor, and then we'll be back with Melissa Cossette of MAXevent. And we're back with Melissa Cossette, founder and creator of MAXevents. MAXevent, I want to say it correctly. Melissa, what is it that you do at MAXevent that helps support and educate and bring to life the vision that your clients, your event space entrepreneurs need the most? And often I wonder if they don't know that they need what they're looking for. So, how do you create that in your 28-day program?
Sure. So we really start that by helping women to understand what it is they're after. What do they want their life to look like through bringing this passion they have to light? And it's not just about starting a business that you're going to replace the stress of your current job or whatever it is that you're maybe looking to get into. It's about creating something that's more purpose driven and aligned with the life you want to lead. And so the first 28 days of working with somebody, that's really what we do is we focus on the why behind the business, the why behind why they're making this transition, which is so important, right? Because for everybody that's different what they're looking for. And then we're helping them to identify the people they want to work with. A lot of people start businesses thinking, I just have to be a generalist because then I can get enough clients that way. Where really we're trying to instill in them the opposite is true. You want to be boldly just who you are with, expressing your values and what you do best in a way that isolates the exact people who you can help the best and doing exactly what people are looking for. So think of the difference between saying, I'm an event planner. I can plan any event you have, a wedding, a bereavement, a birthday party, a corporate meeting, right? Nobody knows what exactly you're best at. But then if you go out there and say, I am a DJ who also sings and I can, replicate any female artist that you want, right? So that's just something I came up with off the top of my head to illustrate, like, if you can be really clear and specific about what you do best, that's where you're going to gain traction. And the getting back to what you said earlier, Lisa, about confidence, we help them to understand how to have confidence in what it is they're bringing to the market and
Mhm.
how they're going to be bringing it there. So it feels like they're taking these steps that are aligned, right? Even when, and as you know, not every action is going to be like hit it out of the park.
Right.
Sometimes we fail. There's a lot of mistakes, but through those mistakes, we learn and it takes us closer to success. So we help them to move forward confidently, even through the testing and the pivoting and the mistakes. So then that way they can kind of cut through all that other noise that a lot of people go through when they just try to go it on their own with these,
Mhm.
misconceptions about what they need to be doing.
That is profound. It really is profound because very often people, women especially, feel like they need to know everything before they've even had a chance to learn it. So they have to launch with every bit of information they could have. You talked about, like, there's a track that people go through to become event planners without really thinking about, what am I best at? What gives me the most joy? Why do I really want to be? Is it just about fun, or is there some other reason that I really could be that special event planner? I want to be special in what I do. And I know that I have characteristics that make me unique. So you just shared, make sure that your product is unique, and then build the confidence through trial and error, right? This is about collecting data. A friend of mine is the host of a podcast called Good Life Project, and he constantly talks about living life in the experiment. Like, everything we do, we're learning, we're trying. Failing is not failing, it's learning. There's no winning or losing, there's only winning and learning.
Right.
And learning is also winning. And so that's something that is true, but it's very hard to believe when you feel like, oh my gosh, I have to earn this amount of money or else I'm not a success. And that is a measure that we all have. It's a measure that we need because we have to put food on the table. But how do you help women stay the course when they're getting that data? They may be falling down. They may feel like, all right, I'm going to have to call it. Either it's a go or it's not a go. How do you support women at that moment?
Yeah, it's so hard because everybody has a different level of confidence or inner, drive or um, a different belief system when it comes to, what the unknown is. And I love working with women who are able to come around to trust that their path is going to unfold exactly how it's meant to. The mistakes are part of their plan. And the difference between somebody who achieves the success they never dreamed of and failing and just, giving it up is literally a day, right? You
Mm,
don't know when your big breakthrough is going to come, when that first huge client is going to come, but they're never going to come if you quit.
right.
So, what I learned to do is just keep going. And I've amassed like a lot of tools and resources and people in my professional network that are amazing at helping you to shore up that inner confidence that you need to keep going forward when the days are tough, when they seem long, when it seems impossible. We say that take a break, but don't give up, right? You need to give yourself the time and the space to reflect. That's so important, right? And it's it's hard. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's like the whole journey is hard, but if you can just have faith in yourself and what you're doing and why you're doing it and know like this is the path I want to be on, then you have what it takes to keep going even through those days that are super hard. So in our after the 28 days, what happens is we open up the option for them to continue on in our business builder mentorship. So they have their blueprint, they've designed their custom business blueprint, and then they can either take that and build it on their own with, a 90-day plan we let them leave with, or they say, no, we want to partner with you to do this. And not we're not a partner in their business, but we're helping them. We're their support system. And through the business builder community, we introduce them to all of the pros that have been there, done that in different disciplines and different areas that are this embedded support system that is there. So when they have the hard days, they have just the right person to lean on, whether it's marketing or operations or mindset or whatever it might be. But what's most important, I think, the most important part of the program is well beyond just developing the right brand strategy or marketing plan. It's shoring up yourself from the inside and persisting. And we're really right there supporting them through every step of that.
So what I hear is twofold, right? Like what you're saying is you help women develop the confidence in themselves, but you also provide them the external resources and support system of mentors who've gone before and who
Yes.
had the same experiences and who have made mistakes and persevered, and still she persists, right? Like we persevere. And this is like any um, exercise. It's an exercise, it's a practice. Like every day is an opportunity to try something new or to continue to stay the course. And we have the option. And sometimes the option to let it go is the right thing for you, but you need to have the confidence to know that maybe this isn't quitting, it's just stopping. And as you said, you're allowed to pause. That's something that I am consistently telling my clients, the power of the pause. Like, let's not react. Let's not react to that bad day or the event that didn't have everything you had hoped, or, the caterer put the table numbers on the wrong tables and there weren't enough seats and this, that, and the other thing. Okay, that was one of my daughter's bat mitzvahs. So that was really complicated, but you just had to go with the flow. They pulled over chairs, they found what they needed. And because the event was not about the chairs, the event was about the joy. And that's your purpose. Like that's the why. Why are we celebrating this wedding? because it needs to be the most extravagant, flamboyant thing, or because two people who love each other are getting married and starting their life.
Right.
Where do we shift it, and how do we know, how do we talk to our clients to help them recognize what is really most important for them?
Mhm.
You know, is it the baby lamb chops or is it something else?
And you hit on something that's I don't want to let pass, because just like the event is about, the experience of the event, the business building is about the experience of
Mhm.
building the business. And through the past 5 years, what I've come to realize is that, yeah, sure, we get into it because we want to create personal wealth and flexibility and freedom in our lives, but the journey is the success factor, right? Every day I get up and I'm excited to do what I do. Is my bank account as big as I want it to be? Of course it's not, right? But every day I get up and I'm blessed and honored to be helping the women I help, to be able to do something every day that I love to do. So, we this is the business builder. You build the business that you want to live in, that you want to live every day. It's not a 9 to 5. Entrepreneurship's not a 9 to 5 job. But the beauty of that is that it's not a 9 to 5 job. You can design your life however you want it to be, but, you really have to show up and do the work for yourself.
Right. And so there are things that you give up, but there definitely are things that you get, and how we shift our mindset so that we could see what we're getting and focus on that as opposed to what we're leaving behind. So maybe we're leaving behind some security. Maybe we're leaving behind things that come with the 9 to 5 job or working for someone else. There are benefits to working for someone else, and there are detriments. And here, there are benefits to creating something yourself that is you. And it's hard when it doesn't work or you don't have all the pieces in place, but that's where MAXevent comes in to support you as you move forward. So we're getting close to the end of our talk. It went so fast. Can can you share some, final thoughts for our audience and then help them find you when they need you?
Absolutely. I just want anybody out there listening that is going through a major life transition, whether it's a divorce or a job change, a move, their kids left the nest, right? Um, just know that this isn't the end of anything. It's the start of the next thing. And all of the power lies within you to say what that's going to be. And the more you focus on the opportunity and potential of the future, the more you'll find the success and the life and the fulfillment you're looking for. But it really all just starts within. So start there. And I would love to connect with anybody that wants to learn how we can help them to thrive in business and in life. And our website is maxeventconsulting.com, MAXEVENT consulting.com. And or you can connect with me on email, which is connect@maxeventconsulting.com. And I'm most actively on social media on LinkedIn, and you can find that Melissa Cossette or MAXevent.
Okay, that's so amazing. Thank you so much, Melissa. This is really powerful stuff. And you created something at a moment that the world was changing, that your immediate life was changing, and where you saw a future where others saw maybe an end. And I really applaud you, and what a message that is for our audience, who are people going through major life transitions and they need some vision for their next chapter. And that's what MAXevent Consulting offers. So thank you so much for being a guest. To all of you out there, I want to thank you for listening and watching. You can find me at lzlcoaching.com or just email me, lisa@lzlcoaching.com. And with that, I thank you again, Melissa, and we'll see you next time on Dishing on Divorce.